take away from Ole Miss in their season, their conference opening win over Georgia?
I know Georgia's not the best team in the SEC or anything close to it, but I did not. If you'd have told me going into the game that Murray and Padula were going to combine for 10 points, I would have responded with, ooh, how bad did they lose? And yet, I mean, great defensive activity. Again, that as we said earlier, that was a Georgia team that was top 10 in the country in offensive efficiency. It's a very efficient scoring basketball team, and they had their worst scoring output of the year. Defensive activity, second half effort, second chance points in the second half. They ended up out-rebounding Georgia in the game. They won ugly, which is a very encouraging thing because that, at going into the game, did not look like a team that could win ugly. And yet they did it. And also on the backs of two guys, Morrell coming off of an injury, and Brakefield, who is now coming off the bench for that team, they were the quote-unquote heroes in the game. So winning ugly and winning the rebounding battle are two things that you did not think that they would be able to do consistently, especially without any scoring from Murray and Padula.
Chris Beard talked to his team a lot at their shoot-around. I mean, beyond X's and O's and game plan and, situational stuff about the start of league play. And it's one thing to want to do well, but are you willing to do the hard things that you have to do well? And are you willing to hold the person next to you accountable for them to also do the hard things that it takes to win in the SEC? And he really drove that point home, and it was on the heels of him being very open about the fact that, we played okay in the first half against Memphis. But, I mean, verbatim, what he said after the Georgia game, he said the opposite of after the Memphis game. He said they were clearly the tougher team in the second half. They wanted it more. They made the plays they had to make to go out and get a win. Well, after this game, he said, no disrespect to Georgia, but we were the tougher team in the second half. They went out and they made winning plays. And that didn't always mean making a ton of shots. It meant coming up with a stop defensively. It meant tipping the ball around or digging one out to keep an offensive possession alive or give you another chance. It meant making the smart pass, the extra pass to get the open look. I thought the Jamin Brakefield 3 with the shot clock winding down.
A little step back. That kind of ended the game right there.
Yeah, I mean, there was 4 seconds on the shot clock, and Morrell recognized that and drove down to the basket, and you just kind of assume he's just going head down to the basket. But he knew he had the time in his head, and he kicked it to the corner, and Brakefield was ready for it and drained the 3. It was huge. So, I think all of those things kind of factored in.